Howdy mates, good afternoon, how are we all doing? Here's a part 3 video for Sunday, April 23rd, 2023. I'm actually visiting a park that I've been to before, but it was only briefly because unfortunately the time that I did come here, it started to rain pretty heavily, and quite frankly, I don't have any form of hydrophobia, but just I didn't have any backup clothes. So, since I only had one set of clothes, I really did not feel like having them soaking wet. So, I unfortunately had only a very short visit, maybe only like 15 minutes. Anyway, beside the point, this is the Marsh Trail, which is in association with the nonprofit called CREW, which stands for Corkscrew Regional Ecosystem Watershed. Now, what they basically do is they protect a very vital watershed that supplies water to millions of residents who live in Southwest Florida. Now, what we're looking at in particular, this is a great example of a seasonal marsh or a depressional marsh. Basically, whenever there is water present, the elevation of the land is going to drop maybe just a couple of inches, if that. And that's where you're going to see more of your aquatic plants, whether it be cordgrass or even your pickerel weed that's found a little further in the distance. Maybe even some potash too, if you're lucky. But then when you get to the outer edge of that seasonal marsh, you start to see more of your saw palmetto and your slash pine, which indicates a change in elevation because those typically prefer drier conditions. But two particular plants that I wanted to point out to you guys is right here. You notice all of these different shrubs. Well, I shouldn't say different, but numerous shrubs. Well, what you're looking at is known. Yeah, so you see like those little projections there. Those are known as corkwood. And they're a very characteristic plant that belongs to freshwater systems because they prefer to have moist soil or wet soil. And they'll usually grow only up to 4 feet. And it is said that they can be a little hard to find. So actually seeing these guys it's a good thing. That means this area hasn't really been tampered, you could say. But it is a bit of a woody shrub, as you can tell, right here, just along the stalk there. And they have a bit of a unique arrangement when it comes to the leaves. It kind of has like a racheme arrangement, or a whorl. I shouldn't say whorled, but more of a racheme in a sense, even though that usually applies more to flowers. But the bottom line is you're seeing the different tiers of the leaves. And then another one I wanted to point out, you see those yellow flowers right here? You can see some examples. Those are known as Marsh St. Wort. Now, I tell you what, even in the botanical world, there are several separate species of St. John's wort. But I believe this one in particular is, the species is fasciculatum, which refers to the bundle of leaves. And same thing, you'll usually only see them in marsh settings. And I think what distinguishes them from other St. John's wort is towards the flower some of the sepals, 2 sets of sepals that kind of like do the kind of do something like this. So it kind of reminds you of I don't know how to put it. Like maybe like a set of wings, perhaps. I think that's really the best way I can put it. I'll try to see if I can perhaps get a better picture later on. But St. John's Wort, it was, of course, named after biblical tradition. St. John the Baptist. It was believed that he was the one who helped baptize Christ himself. So you figure then these flowers were named after European botanists, or for those who had Christian traditions. So I believe too, I read something from St. John's Day, which is June 24th. Apparently, if you pick the St. John's flowers, it tells you like if the maiden is going to be married, something like that. It's an old wives' tale. But anyway, it's at this same park where a famous botanist by the name of Roger Hammer has led hikes before. And I'm sure many of you have heard of him. He's written several different books that pertain to our wildflowers. And as a matter of fact, I actually have one of his guidebooks because they are just extremely informative. And it goes by like a color code system too. So look into him. Look into Roger Hammer. He does some great work. So, alrighty. I think that's all I'm about to wrap up on. Point is, we got to keep this type of ecosystem here because our wildlife needs to have this. Especially with our amphibians that you can hear in the distance. You can hear some of those frogs out there. So, alright. Take care, you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.